Culturally clueless.
You guys, I'm back. I am officially back and it's 2026. Happy New Year. 30 organizations who provide the essentials in Gaza were banned once more under them Doctors Without Borders. With that said, you guys, welcome to a brand new episode of, you guessed it, Culturally Clueless. Salam alaikum.
People talking loud, everybody's got a tape. Scrolling through the headlines, don't know what's real or fake. Late night conversations, what's the truth we chase? World keeps changing pace, but we're all in the race.
All right, okay, I'm back. I am really back. I'm so sorry, guys. I stayed away a little bit longer. I did travel. And when I came back, I kind of like thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I'll do the episode. It's going to be nothing. But I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it because I was too absorbed and too distracted. And the week after, I was a little bit like, okay, you know what? Let me just wait till the new year comes and then get started. And there's a lot of things, like we have this whole thing, like this is why I don't do this whole new year thing. A, because it's not for me or for us, I should say. B, is it really the new year? I leave that up to you guys to figure out. And the third reason is, honestly, you wake up the next day, different number, different day, same BS, same story, same suffering, same everything. So what exactly are we celebrating? Somebody tell me. What can I say? I just want to leave a lot of things in 2026, but we can't do this because, as I said, it's the same thing. So we have to talk about the same things again. Okay. And we're going to start with Abu Ubaidah. So Israel announced, actually, I believe it was August this year when they announced that Abu Ubaidah was taken out. I think it was confirmed just a few days ago, the very end of last year. Let's check this out.
لا يمكننا إلا أن نتوقف إجلالا وإكبارا أمام صاحب هذا المقام الذي لطالما أطل عليكم بصوته القوي وكلماته الصادقة وبشرياته المنتظرة، الملثم الذي أحبه الملايين وانتظروا إطلالته بشغف ورأوا فيه مصدر إلهام وفي كوفيته الحمراء أيقونة لكل أحرار العالم، الشهيد القائد الكبير الناطق باسم كتائب القسام أبو عبيدة، صوت الأمة الهادر ورجل الكلمة والموقف.
And on a different note, you guys, on a very different note, there is this Our Narrative 2.0 by Hamas out there, 42 pages. Don't be fooled. That's all I can say. Do not trust everything you see and hear. We don't know what's going on, but something is going on. That's all I could say. And since, as I said, we're still on the same things, we're going to talk a little bit about activism because there's different forms of activism, as we guys know. We have, you can go out in the streets, you can be digital, you can just inform your friends, your family, your coworkers, whoever wants to hear it, whoever feels the need to know, whoever you think should know. That's a little bit difficult because people are indeed ignorant, so sometimes it's a hassle, but I want to share some of the stuff here with you guys. So the first thing I want to share is Francesca Albanese, the woman from the UN, the special rapporteur to Palestine. Let's hear from her own mouth what she has been going through.
My medical insurance refused to reimburse me. I have a private medical insurance, and they refused to reimburse me because I'm sanctioned by the US. The European Union Parliament invited me for a talk recently. They booked a room for me and it was canceled because it was on my name.
Wow,
Even financial transactions that have nothing to do with me, but have my name on it. For example, you try to transfer £1 or $1 or €1 to your friends with my name in it.
Wow.
You guys, this is wild. She works for the UN, okay? She was employed by the UN and she was giving this position, and clearly they haven't taken that position away from her yet. She's facing a lot of problems because she's saying a lot of things that a lot of people don't like. Let's hear some more.
Wow.
It won't pass.
I'm so sorry, firstly, that you're having to deal with this, and it shows how crippling these sanctions can be. And yet the US is threatening to ramp up its sanctions, not just to impact individuals associated with the ICC, but the ICC as a whole. If they are to go ahead with that, what would that mean for global justice?
It would. I think it would be a fatal blow for the internet.
You guys, it's wild, to strip somebody off their credit card, to have somebody not be able to even get in a hotel and have a hotel room that somebody else booked on a whole different credit card is a different level of pettiness. This is real and true pettiness. I'm just wondering why we have been fed this whole lie of freedom of speech and freedom of expression and freedom of opinion for so long, when now it's been kind of like completely punished in this kind of case. And a lot of people, especially public figures, especially celebrities, they are not brave enough, like Francesca, to speak out, right? Let's check this out.
I do not believe that Jay-Z and Beyonce do not, let's take Palestine out of it, do not know that their black boy's been crushed in mine.
Of course, yeah. They know.
You cannot cancel Taylor Swift. You cannot cancel Beyonce. If they woke up tomorrow morning and they said free Congo, free Sudan, free Palestine, they're going to be fine. Rihanna has more wealth than her children's children will ever need. So it can't be a fear factor, right? It's got to be this cognitive development to make you think that you have to be in the machine, which is why I miss the heroes.
You guys, this is something I hear from so many people. Let's listen to some more.
On whose shoulders I believe I stand on, which is people like Nina Simone, right, who risked it all. Yeah. Muhammad Ali, literally his best fighting years were taken away from him because he didn't want to go and shoot. He said, I've never met anyone from Vietnam.
Yeah.
What am I going to do to them? Where are our ones in sports?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
right?
so
Where are the footballers? Like Mo Salah would respect, Mo. You've done one post.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's not enough.
Our boxers, I got to give a shout out to Lewis Hamilton. He's been vocal from the beginning.
Yeah.
We need more.
Absolutely.
We do.
And at that level, I mean, top.
No, please tell me, like, everything this man is saying is 100% true. Like, I agree with him 100%. It's all about, they don't want to go through what Francesca is going through. They don't want to be stripped of their status. They don't want to lose their reputation. They don't want to lose their credit cards or their wealth, or they don't want to have their account shut down. They don't want to lose any contracts or whatever it may be. It is insane punishing people for saying that they are against killing of the innocents. And you have the other people, and I want to say this, right? I want to say this. There's a lot of people that say that to me in private life, that they feel like, well, I'm just one person. What is it going to do if I speak up? I'm just going to lose everything. It's my safety. It's my security. I get that. I really do. But at some point, decisions have to be made. Let's check these people out, these activists in London, and look at what they have done. That is amazing. That is so on point. That is also a form and a way, of activism, of protest, of speaking up. Let's watch a little bit more of it. You guys, but then we have also a different type of activism, which is a little bit more serious and a little bit more on the dangerous side, right? There is a hunger strike going on in the UK. So there is people from Pali Action, and we know that Pali Action, they've been standing on business from the beginning. My gosh, I'm going to sound like the former president of South Africa in the beginning. Anyways. Anyways, one of my favorite F-ups from a politician ever. If you guys don't know the video, just put in YouTube in the beginning. Oh my gosh, in the beginning. Yes, that's all you have to put into YouTube, and then you'll understand. And that's it. But now back to the hunger strike. This is like the biggest hunger strike in 40 years, and it is very, very serious. Let's check this out.
Put simply, the hunger strikers are dying.
His heart is slowing down. So what are we waiting for?
In London, alarm bells are ringing as hunger strikers linked to Palestine Action, who have been held in prison for over a year now, are at growing risk of dying. 5 of the 8 taking part have already been hospitalised, with some having gone nearly 7 weeks now without food in what is the largest hunger strike the UK has seen in over 40 years. Today, their families, lawyers and doctors held a conference demanding immediate action and intervention from Justice Secretary David Lammy, who has been warned by lawyers that if he chooses to intervene, he could save lives before it is too late.
To David Lammy and to Keir Starmer, if you're watching this press conference.
You guys see, and a lot of people are going to say, but what is it going to do? What is it actually doing that these people are feeling to starve themselves and harm their bodies and harm themselves? Let's watch some more,
press conference. Do what your job requires you to do.
Kessa Zura was just 19 when she was detained, and she has now been on hunger strike for over 47 days.
She was just starting her 2nd year at university, and she had her whole life ahead of her. Today is day 47. Any day after day 35 is considered a critical and severe stage of starvation.
Yesterday, outside HMP Bronzefield, MP Zara Sultana staged a protest refusing to leave until Kessa was taken to hospital after her condition deteriorated rapidly.
Imagine having to beg for an ambulance for 20 hours for someone you love.
And I want to say this is not the first people to ever go on a hunger strike. This was happening before. It happened in the US prior. And a lot of people, like at this point, I also want to bring up like people who even went for crazier measures like Aaron Bushnell and so on, who literally set themselves on fire alive. Starvation, starving yourself is also a form of protest. We've been knowing this. This is nothing new. These people have been doing this though, and they've taken it very far. Let's watch a little bit, just a tiny bit more.
And not knowing if they're alive.
For others, the fear and heartbreak are just as immediate.
I don't sleep anymore, and neither do my parents. And I don't think anyone will understand the heartbreak that we face every time they get hospitalized. When we have MPs speak up, the Ministry of Justice, people in Parliament, they laugh. They laugh at the lives of 8 people.
My sister is someone who I consider to be my best friend, my soulmate, and my mother figure. And I really need her in my life. I can't imagine a life without her, but the government is forcing us to.
Now, lawyers say the government has been aware of the hunger strike for months, yet refused repeated requests to meet with the prisoners.
We explained that some of our clients could not walk.
Somebody asked me what the purpose of this is, why people would starve to death, and what is it doing, whom is it helping. I think it's just making a statement that is so big and so bold and so insane, to just show what you're doing is crazy, and I'm going to meet it with something crazy within my means, right? That's what I can imagine. I mean, I've never asked somebody why they put themselves on hunger strike, but I can imagine it is that. For me personally, it's always important what you leave behind as a legacy, right? How, and once you're not here anymore, you really want to go and be like, well, I couldn't do anything, I couldn't help it, but what am I supposed to do? Or are you going to still make a statement, no matter how big or small it is, right? No matter how effective it is or not, because one statement is not going to do much. Two statements also, 5 statements, 10 statements, like 100 statements, now we're talking. 1,000 statements, now we're definitely talking. 10,000 business, okay, we're getting louder. 100,000 statements is something big, and when we get to the millions, you guys know what it is, right? And that's why I say, like, you might feel like all of this is purposeless and it doesn't help anyone and it's still ongoing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But you stand on the right side of history. You stand on the right side of humanity, which is even more important, right? It's humanity. It's not about what race you are, what ethnicity you are, what religion you are. First of all, we are losing. If not, we actually lost humanity. And it's not because of Palestine only. There's Sudan, there's Congo, there's Haiti, there's Myanmar, there's so many other places. Humanity is really, 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 really going down and gone down. So yes, it's important what statement you make. It's important what legacy you leave behind. And then you guys, there is this one part here I want you to definitely watch, because this is why I kept saying for years, way before October 7th, I was complaining about the hypocritical society we live in, this hypocrisy that crept up on us, and here it is.
If you don't do that, you are in breach of those conditions and you could be arrested.
What if we support Israel? Are we okay to stay or not?
I think I made it quite clear which side it was about. If you're in support of Palestine, then you are breaching your conditions.
And if you're in support of Israel, we can stay?
Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? Let's listen to some more.
Congo, Sudan. So what is this about? So
what is it about?
I understand if we can't protest at all, but like, if we protest for Palestine, Sudan, Congo, we can stay. If we protest for Israel, we can stay.
Yes.
Just to make this clear. Yes. If we protest for Israel, we can stay. Yes. Just to make this clear. Yes.
Oh my goodness, this is wild, you guys. This is literally wild. So if you're there for the Congo, for Sudan, right? Let's leave Palestine to the side for a little bit, just for a second. If you're there for those people, you're not allowed to. But if you're there for the blues, you can stay, baby. It's not a problem. What is this? And we like, seriously, this is not wrong. Like, come on. The most delusional person would even have to see here. So it's okay to stay for one particular set of people, but not for 3-4 other different particular sets of people? No? Like, no? I get it. It's just a question, do you get it? I don't know. This was wild to me. I'm not gonna lie. This was really, really insane. When I saw that, I really had to like play it twice because I was like, no. They didn't. But they did. They really, really did. Okay. The next thing, I really definitely wanted to leave it in 2026, but I have to talk about it. I really have to. Why, right? When I was actually preparing the episode for last week, this was definitely on my agenda. But when I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna sit this week out and come back in the new year, I was like, I gotta talk about it. I have to. I have really second, third, fifth, and 10th hand embarrassment from this, but we can't skip it. We can't. Nicki Minaj. Yes, she did it again. The UN was not enough because our girl needs Monday. There is a lot of rumor that her house is apparently being repossessed because somebody was using somebody else's credit card a little bit too much. Watch who you get married to. I know a lot of marriages go to shits for many different reasons, but this one was, I mean, look, I don't want to judge people who they choose and who they not choosing and what their choice is based on and who they decide to fall in love with and have children with. But it gets to a point where you know, the rationale has to kick in. And this woman is becoming more and more and more and more not only delusional, but this is by choice. That, you know, like going to the UN and talking about a non-existing Christian genocide in Nigeria is one thing. Thought it's really one thing. Okay. But what she did when she went to TPUSA is on a whole different level. You know, the way that she was speaking, the way that she was talking about why should other women, why put other women down when you know how it feels when you're put, like everything of it, the way that she was talking about women, the way she was talking about men, I don't even know where to start. It was a second, third, fifth, and 100th hand embarrassment. It was so bad. I really couldn't believe that it was so bad. And I was like, I hope it's not just me. But then I saw the internet was flooded with videos, you know, saying basically very similar things. I don't know if the, like, she really, like, you know, melted all her brain cells away, if it's really just the money problems that she has and the prestige. I know there is a lot of rumors out there. We're going to get to this in a second, because the rumors about how she's trying to, you know, look out for her father, for her brother, who apparently, like, allegedly into little children. I mean, the brother got 25 years. The I don't know, her husband. Look, that thing with her husband, I'm gonna get into this in a second, but let's watch and let's listen more so what she had to say about Trump.
I have the utmost respect and admiration for our president. This administration is full of people with heart and soul, and they make me proud of them. Our vice president.
Do you guys see how she talks? Like, she, and then I have is terrible. I don't know what's going on, like why she's dragging her words, why she is talking slow like that. Like, does she think she comes across more serious or more credible? I don't know. Like, Barbs, it's time to wake up. For the Barbs who woke up already because they saw that, you know, since this girl has a lot of, like, LGBTQ plus community of fans, and the way that she's been talking, y'all should demand your money back for the concerts, the merch, the streaming, everything. This was clearly a fraud. Okay, let's listen to some more.
He makes me, well, I love both of them, but they're both powerful men, smart, strong, all of that, but both of them have a very uncanny ability to be someone that you relate to. I can relate to them. When I hear them speak, I know that they're one of us.
She called him the assassin, and she realized she tripped up, and she goes, and then Erica tried to cover it. Yeah. I heard you won't believe what I heard. I mean, yeah, they're gonna baby her because they need that little token black girl now on their side that brings over a bunch of barbs. I mean, they called her, now we have a UN barbs, that's what they called her at the UN. So now they bringing her over totally to the other side. She's embracing it. It's amazing how people sell out, right? You sell out yourself, you sell out your community and the other communities that were backing you, that were actually the core of your fan base, right? And those barbs who are still riding with their heart, I don't get y'all. Like, I really don't get y'all. But maybe then I have to say this, the lesson wasn't hard enough. That's what they say. When people don't get something, they say the lesson wasn't hard enough. And guess what? I got way more.
Dear young men, you have amazing role models like our handsome, dashing president. And you have amazing role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president. And when I say that,
trust me, there's nothing new under the sun that I have not heard, so you're fine.
This is a wild statement. So she dismissed her whole career, and that's perfectly fine. I can say, like, if somebody says, you know what, I did this, and now I'm completely a changed person, I'm taking a different route, this is not who I am anymore. But first of all, this was a long, long time ago, right? There was a video, Nicki was just coming out, right? There was a video where she was having dinner or something with Birdman, and she was talking about how worried she is that all the 12, 13, 10-year-old girls are listening to her songs. And, like, we know what the character Nicki Minaj is built on. It's built on particular body parts. It's built on very out there sexual talk. It's kind of like almost a gimmick, right? So, and I thought this kind of like I liked her for that. I thought, you know what, that's super cool that she actually has the consideration for the young girls and what's it going to do with that, right? And then this whole TPUS talk now, this is bringing young people, it's a straight link between young people and God. Bruh, is this church? But TPUSA is church? I mean, I don't know. Like, I definitely agree with most people on the internet. Something is very off with this whole Erica Kirk, and what she is doing is absolutely insane. But I'm watching. I'm still watching. I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see where we're going with this. What I can say is, this is a video that made the rounds on the internet as well. Charlie did not think much of Nicki Minaj or Cardi B as a role model for Black girls, any girls, okay? So to invite Nicki, yes, now she's a changed person, and, she's speaking up for Christians that are not being genocided in Nigeria. Now she's saying this is a straight link from young people to God on a TPUSA. Bro, what is wrong with you? I thought you couldn't get more delusional when you came for Cardi in such a nasty way, and when you just like let loose on everybody, and all your bitterness comes out on everybody on the internet for no reason whatsoever, because you're mad at yourself for your own decisions that you have made and that you don't feel like to fix. Why? I don't know, because of pride, because you can't, whatever the reason may be. You need a lot of healing, Nicki. You don't need to be with TPUSA. You don't need to be with any group right now. What you need to do is take some time out and go worry about yourself. If they want to repossess your house, okay, then you have to do things in a very different way, a little bit smaller. And if your husband is spending your money, then maybe you should cut it down. You should kick him out, do whatever you feel like doing, instead of trying to allegedly, because I don't know, to be honest, because I'm going to say this, right, with the husband. Yes, it's they say he is a pedophile. I just find this a very crazy analysis, actually, like analogy, I should say more, because when he sexually assaulted this girl, he was 16 himself. He assaulted a 16-year-old. So how is he a pedophile? Somebody tell me. To sexually assault or try rape or whatever anyone, we don't need to talk about it. It's completely wrong. It's completely disgusting. It's gross, and it needs to be punished. But let's be reasonable here, and let's be right here. Is this a pedophilia? No, it's not. No, I don't think it's pedophilia. Okay, it's sexual violence and sexual aggression. Yes. Now they had a lot of financial problem, not just like repossession of the house. They also were sued by a security guard in Germany for 500,000. I think it was 500,000, because so Nicki got into an argument with him, and her husband, Mr. Petty, that's his real name. What can I do? Came, and he got a little bit physical with the guy. So there was a court case. They lost it, so they have to cough up the money. Then the girl that Mr. Petty, allegedly sexually assaulted when they were kids or teenagers, she sued them because she is alleging that they are blackmailing her and to take it back, basically. And then you know what I mean? Because he wants that clean record, because he forgot to conveniently register as a sexual offender when he moved to California, something that people in the US have to do. I wish they had to do this in many other places as well. This is actually something that I'm totally in agreement with, to be honest. I don't care like how much you changed or how you regret it or whatever. No, bro, this is a serious matter, and this is gonna haunt you and follow you all your life. Same like the victim have to live with it and be haunted by this their whole life. Very easy, right? There is nothing to debate, nothing to discuss. It is what it is. So yeah, this is the whole thing with Nicki, why she is doing what she's doing. Is it money? Is it like how people sometimes rebel when they feel like not accepted by their own? When they're being delusional, because nobody did not accept Nicki. We all been saying she is very talented. She is like, I don't know, like she is a master of her craft. But this whole delusional, this whole crazy behavior, I don't know where you're going with it. And now you topped it with the UN, and then you overtopped it, like OT'd it with this whole TPUSA. Now you're going down their route. Good luck, y'all. Good luck. This is what happens when celebrities use their platform. Now we're moving on right along to something crazy as well. We all know that just in the past week, Somaliland, right? That belongs to Somalia. We're going to get into the little bit of the history, just a little bit in a second, was recognized by Israel. So an illegal occupation settler state is recognizing a not recognized Somali territory, whatever you want to call this. Man, let's check this out.
But first, countries around the world have come down hard on Israel's unilateral recognition of Somaliland last week. The largest rally to be held since Friday's declaration on Tuesday, tens of thousands of Somalis turned out in protest to the main stadium in their capital, condemning what they see as an attack on their sovereignty. Meanwhile, Turkey, an ally of Mogadishu, slammed Israel's move, calling it illegitimate. Now, Somaliland unilaterally broke away from Somalia in 1991, but that declaration has, until now, had little impact on its official diplomatic status. The UN Security Council called an emergency meeting about the crisis, with more than 20 countries making their disapproval clear. The US, though, was not amongst them. Now, Jess Mazurier followed that meeting in New York for Eye on Africa. She gives us the lowdown.
All right, you guys. If this ain't crazy, I don't know what is. The people are not happy with it. There's protest, countries are against it, people are against it. There's Somali people like from Somaliland who are obviously backing this because they think there is something in there for them. They're not realizing, you always have this delusional people. We just talked about delusional people and delusions. But there is also a lot of people who, stomped on their own flag. Let's watch some more.
One after the other, UN ambassadors condemned Israel's unilateral recognition of Somaliland during this Emergency Security Council meeting that was held on Monday. They called it a violation of sovereignty and of international law, and some of them described it as morally reprehensible. They also condemned any move by Israel to relocate Palestinians from Gaza to Somaliland. They called for the Council to speak with one voice to counter Israel's actions. Well, the UN's Assistant Secretary General for the Middle East, Asia and the Pacific, Khaled Kiari, said that Israel's declaration was null and void, that it was not legal under international law. Israel tried to defend its recognition of Somaliland, saying...
So we all know that, or we don't know all, I should not assume. Somaliland broke in 1991 from Somalia, and they have been now apart for so long, but they still considered a Somali territory. They have not been recognized by any country of the UA. It's pending with Ethiopia to be recognized. 20 countries reacted in a very no way to Israel's recognition of Somaliland. The US, of course, is fully backing it. They're with it. There was this UN Security Council, and it was like a very petty argument that they came up with, how to say, Israel is reacting with inconsistent international law, and that they have the right, like every other state, to conduct business and do decisions however they want. It's insane because almost all countries were condemning it, and condemning also this idea of relocating people from Gaza to Somaliland. Like, Somaliland is so flourishing and doing so much better. You know what I mean? And it's really, really annoying with this whole US defending the decision. And it's just, you guys, it's just disgusting. Before we get into the history a little bit of Somalia on a whole, and which we talked about a little bit, we talked about how flourishing it was, how the economy was, cotton, and they had so much going for them before the Brits came and destroyed it all. But I want you guys to check out what Trump had to say about Somalia, or about Somalis as well.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country is no good for a reason. Their country stinks. And
see, you guys, this is insane. This is so disgusting, right? And then you say, oh, but it's not, they say it's not PC and I don't really care. Okay, but you know what? What we say when we speak against genocides that are happening in this world, when we speak out against killing, we get actually punished, right? And this is deemed not a PC, but we cannot say we don't care. There's a lot of consequences for speaking the truth and standing with humanity. But Trump gets to say whatever he wants to say because of the position he is. So there's a second part here.
And we don't want them in our country. I can say that about other countries too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. Our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
You see how he said their country is not good, and there's a reason. I can say this about many countries. Yeah, the country is not good because of the colonial powers. It was colonized by Italy and by the Brits. Okay, it was colonized for a very, very, very long time, right? And after it was colonized, it was still kept not safe, not good. Like it got its dependency in 1960, right? And after that, it was still not okay, because then the South and the British occupied territories, except some of the northern parts, they merged. And 60% of the Northerners, though, they rejected it. They didn't want to merge. They wanted to become Somaliland, right? This is how it came. And then in 1969, there was a general called Mohammed Ziyad Barre. He took over. He was backed by the Soviets at that time. And that he was backed by the Soviets till the end of the 70s. And there was this Ogaden War. Basically, Ogaden is a place in Ethiopia, and Somalia wanted to take it over. So it blew up and became a whole war. And the Soviets were backing Ethiopia, though. So he kind of like, took it kind of like personal. And he kind of like removed himself, or like he moved away, I should say, from the Soviets, and moved towards, you guessed it, the West, the US. Okay. So he had the whole full-blown US backing while he was in charge over there for that long. In 1991, he then fled. There was an internal conflict. Everything was unstable. The regime collapsed. The country collapsed. And what did he do? He was forced to flee. But before he fled, he went to the central bank and took out several millions, right? I don't know. I didn't find the exact number because it's kind of like different in different reports, but it was multiple millions, right? And then chaos erupted. And the chaos lasted, right? There was humanitarian crisis, and I want to say man-made, right? Why? Because there's a lot of foreign involvement. They don't want these places stable. Because they want certain things for themselves, and if there's chaos, it's easier to exploit the country for what they own, And then it turned like into like something crazy. And in 2006, there was the Islamic Accord Union, or whatever they were called, right? It's like a moderate Sharia based party, so to speak, and then it became somewhat like a government. And then Ethiopia invaded, and the government was toppled. And then the radicalized side of it, like of this organization, of this regime, they are known as the Al-Shabaab. They are linked to Al-Qaeda, obviously. Okay, so, and this is what's been going down in Somalia, and this is why there is really no real peace there, no real, development or anything. Then you have places like Puntland and Jubaland. They have no relation to the federal government whatsoever. You have like different clans in Somalia who are basically making their own deals with countries like Puntland. They have deals with the UAE for the weapons that are going to Sudan, for example, right? So what can I say? There's different deals that these clans make. They have local power in different regions, so regional power, and they are able to conduct all these businesses and all these deals with different countries. Okay, so and this is the whole mess, because every clan is going to do what's good for them, right? They don't care about unity, I guess, how it seems. And it's going to be very, very hard to establish unity there. And it's such a shame. And this man is coming there and saying your country, because their country is not good. I wonder why. I really, really wonder why. So UAE and Turkey and Egypt have bases in Somalia. Turkey has the biggest base outside of Turkey in Mogadishu. Turkey, the traders who claimed for so long that they have been cutting trade deals and every relation with Israel, and I'm so glad. I've never believed it. I never believed it. I thought, no way. They know how to appease their people. They know what to say, and their people are eating it up. But what can I say? This is a whole different story for a whole different day. I just wanted to mention that Turkey and UAE and Egypt have their bases there, and they did condemn, for the most part, the Turkey at least, that the recognition of Somaliland by Israel. And this is a joke. We're like literally living in a crazy ass reality show where we have settler colonies recognizing a non-existing other part. And I don't want to take anything away from Somalilanders. If you feel if you feel you're different because your history is different, because you wasn't occupied by Italians, you was occupied by the British, so you need to stand on your own. I get that, freedom for everybody who wants it. But if you haven't achieved your sovereignty yet, and you allow a genocidal state to recognize you, I have no respect for you whatsoever. Now we're moving on to Anthony Joshua, and you guys, I didn't want to talk about it at all when I was preparing an episode for last week, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to mention the Jake Paul fight in the intro, like as a quick thing, you know what I mean? And since I didn't do the episode and this whole story turned into something tragic, I have to speak on it, and it's very, 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 very sad. There was this fight with Jake Paul. Yeah, he broke his jaw. So I hope all these celebrity wannabe fighters or social media influencers who want to become boxers, I hope you understand boxing is real. And I have to say, I used to love boxing, and then I had to realize it's actually super dangerous. I'm actually quite surprised that it's allowed, but again, that's a whole different story for another day as well. So the fight it went, the guy was in hospital, whatever. Anthony Joshua was apologetic about it. Who cares? He knew what he was getting into, and they got good money for it. What can I say? Now, AJ goes to Nigeria, his home country, like his birth country, or his ethnic country. I don't know what do you call it today, like these days anymore. But he was there with his two friends, Latif, who is his personal trainer, and Sina, that's the other guy's name, who is his, I think, resistance coach or something. And they got into a car crash, and Latif and Sina died. Anthony was taken to hospital immediately with minor injuries. I have no words. When you are in an accident and you're the only one that makes it from your friends. They had a driver who is, by the way, being investigated right now. They want to investigate, the prosecution is investigating if that was speeding or any type of thing that the driver did that caused the accident. So that's also another thing that's going on. But when you're there with three friends and you guys are going to your original country and you're close friends, and you guys are just just arriving in a ride and whatnot, and you're the only one that makes it, I'm sorry, but the survival guilt must be extreme here on another level. And survival guilt is something that is very serious. I would know how to overcome this, because this is something I struggle with for years. But it's not about me here. It's about Anthony, and I really, truly empathize with this because I know how real it can be. And I really wish him all the strength in the world to overcome this, or get through it, manage it, because this is hard. To lose one friend is hard, but losing two and people you're doing business with and you're friends with, damn. So unfortunately, I couldn't find anything about Sina, but I wanted you guys to meet Latif. So
We now remember Abdul Latif, Anthony Joshua's close friend and personal trainer, who tragically died yesterday in a car accident on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Latif was a true humanitarian, building classrooms, football pitches and projects that touched communities across Nigeria. Now, let's look at the lasting impact of his works.
Hi guys, so I'm here back at the Spot project. I was here in 2019 and boy, the changes that have been made are incredible. They've built a couple of new buildings. This building behind me wasn't here before. A couple of
This
new
is amazing. Such an amazing project, such an amazing thing to be part of. And I can only imagine how he feels coming back 4 years later after starting this. Let's watch a little bit more.
A couple of new classrooms for the kids to learn Arabic, English, maths, and all that kind of good stuff that they need to learn to survive in the society. The football pitch that's been done for them to play football, which they all love, and the basketball courts. So I'm seeing that they're not only working on their mental state, they're working on their physical form as well. So well done to Spot Project and congratulations. May Allah bless you guys, and I'd really, really encourage you guys to come out here and see it for yourself. You know, with the help of donations, this is all helping for a great, great cause. Not only for the kids.
So the Spot Project, that's what they're calling it, where they teach kids Arabic, they teach kids sports and many different other things. And I think this is so amazing. This is beautiful. And what an accomplishment. And inshallah, he will, you know, be granted Jannah because he died in this kind of very ugly way. Same like Sina. I saw a lot of people making videos on them, people who know them, and, you know, talking about how they did Umrah together, how they did certain things together. It seems like it's touching a lot of people, and rightfully so. And for those people out there who still who use every opportunity to make excuse me, I get really mad about this, to make AI videos. Like, I saw this AI video of Anthony Joshua speaking on how he's gonna quit boxing after this, and like, have some respect. What is wrong? That's why I say humanity is lost, and they're making it even worse with all of these things. They're making people like go to different lengths. Like, respecting human beings is or respecting death is long gone, it seems. So damn, I don't know what's going on. So we talked about Trump earlier, you guys. I want to go back to Trump. Netanyahu was in Florida. He visited Trump. They had some talks apparently. And of course, they talked about the West Bank and how there are still evolving violence, settler violence. Let's watch this.
Masked gangs of settlers marauding through the streets, armed with bats and Molotov cocktails. Cars and homes smashed apart and set on fire. This is now the daily reality for Palestinians across the occupied West Bank. As the violence spreads, no one is safe. A centuries-old olive grove in ruins, flames licking at the stones of a 5th century church.
They attacked us, moved their sheep into the churchyard, and they even tried to burn the church. There's no difference.
You guys, these settlers are nuts. If I tell you nuts, I mean nuts. Let's watch some more.
There's no difference between how the settlers treat Muslims or Christians.
Taibe is one of the oldest continuously settled Christian communities in the world. It appears in both the Old and New Testaments.
Everything began in this land.
Usually at this time of year, the valley would be full of olive pickers. Now, locals are too afraid to venture onto their own land. The trees are dying, their fruit rotting on the branch. Across the valley, the hills are dominated by settlements. Even as we stand here, we can see a car from a local settlement patrolling the groves. Fleeing the relentless attacks, Christian residents have started to emigrate to the United States in droves. The village has lost 24 families already.
How is this for you personally, the responsibility?
Huge and over my capacity. But I have to be standing always and to raise my head.
It's insane how somebody like Ben Gvir is out there handing out guns to the settlers and telling them to go cuckoo on the Palestinians, to go nuts on the Palestinians. And this is what they're doing. They're not just using guns, they're using everything they have, fists, hands, anything that they can have. These people are straight up shaitans. That's all I can say. They are satanic. Let's watch some more.
Handed out weapons to settlers after the October 7th attacks. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich has advocated destroying large Palestinian towns to isolate Palestinians. And this government has sanctioned the building of dozens of new settlements, which are illegal under international law.
It's peak olive picking season in the West Bank, and Palestinian farmers are out harvesting their groves. In Turmos Aya, on the first day of the season, dozens of settlers, armed with clubs, their faces hidden with black rags, descended on this grove.
53-year-old grandmother Afaf Aboualia was chased and bludgeoned by a masked.
And what did they tell you at the hospital?
They told us he was beaten to death.
The family believes Saifullah, nicknamed Saif, might have been saved, but it took nearly 3 hours for a Palestinian ambulance to get permission to cross into the area to help him. He bled to death alone.
He was like an older son.
And this is a daily occurrence. We talked about it so much here, and I cannot stop talking about it because I need people to remember this, because there's so much going on and a lot of information gets lost in transit, and we need to understand it. And therefore, we're going to watch some more.
Complicated about a bunch of people going into other people's land, attacking them, killing them, imprisoning them, and stealing their land.
Saif is just one of at least 21 Palestinians killed by settler violence since October 7th, 2023. The UN reports more than 1,000 Palestinians have been injured in attacks this year, more than double the number injured last year. Their homes burned, their fields and olive groves destroyed. 7 settlers have been killed and 53 injured by Palestinians this year. Yesh Din, an Israeli NGO working to protect the rights of Palestinians living...
See this, always, they just stop everything. They're not destroying people. I want to say this again. There's not just a genocide going on. There's an ecocide going on. There's the destruction of farmland. There's the destruction of trees. There's the contamination of water. There's the water stop for the people in the West Bank. They have only access to water for a particular part of the day or a particular time, and then it gets cut off. Right? So this is Trump, Mr. Donald Trump. Look what he had to say.
Do you have a message for the Prime Minister about the West Bank? And are you at all concerned that settler violence, Israeli settler violence, could be undermining the peace plan?
Well, we have had a discussion, big discussion for a long time on the West Bank. And I wouldn't say we agree on the West Bank 100%, but we will come to a conclusion on the West Bank.
If I could ask, what is the disagreement?
Well, I don't want to do that. It'll be announced at an appropriate time. But he will do the right thing. I know that. I know him very well. He will do the right thing. Yes.
You guys heard it. You guys heard it. It's insane. It is insane. He actually says he's trusting Netanyahu to do the right thing. Since when can you trust Netanyahu to do the right thing? You know what I mean? Like, you have Ben Gvir handing out guns over there, like weapons to the settlers. The settlers are basically some type of like subgroup of the IDF over there. It's wild. What's going on is wild. But let's move on to the UAE. And there is a beef with Saudi Arabia because let's watch this.
Okay guys, breaking news, huge escalation in tension this morning after Saudi Arabia bombed a weapons shipment belonging to the UAE in Yemen. And this is actually a much bigger deal than you might think, because you see, in Yemen, there is an ongoing, what you could describe as a civil war. But the UAE and Saudi Arabia, they both support opposing sides. And for the most part, the UAE, Saudi, they've been able to avoid direct military conflict with
you guys, I feel I don't have to say much. Let's listen to a little bit more.
conflict with one another, even when the sides that they support in Yemen have clashed. But today, Saudi bombed something explicitly tied to the UAE, and then they directly issued public warnings to them. Now that is very rare, if not unprecedented, and what makes this even crazier is that the Yemen government, the side that Saudi support, they have now issued a state of emergency, they have cancelled a security pact with the UAE, and then they called a 24-hour deadline for all UAE forces in Yemen to evacuate. Now the big question is, does the UAE respond to Saudi's bombing? We don't know, but if they do, it's gonna be a long January.
So you guys see what's happening. So the Saudis attacked the ship and of the UAE, alleging there were weapons on it. The UAE saying there's no weapons on it. So now the peace deal is called off with Abu Dhabi. Now there is, and this is the craziest thing, right? And this is why I'm even talking about this already, because what stood out to me more than these people having beef with each other, the UAE and Saudi, is the fact that they're doing this again on foreign lands. They're not attacking each other, how Dylan said in this video. Like face to face, like, I'm coming to your country, you attack my country. It's nothing like that. What they're doing here is taking out their beef on a whole different, somebody else's land. A land that has been attacked, that has been used. Okay, yes, there is two different governments, and one of them is UAE backed, the other one is Saudi backed. I get that. But the Yemenis, they've been starved, they've been deprived, they've been mistreated for the longest, and it's continuing. And when you bring your beef onto their soil, you have a whole different agenda with that, for me at least. You guys, moving right along, and let's talk about the Bondi Beach incident. So, right, there's incidents that they try to sell us as one thing and happen to be another. So I'm talking about, obviously, this shooting that was happening the end of 2025 in December, where somebody called Sajid Akram and his son Naveed Akram shot a few people for the fun of it. Okay, and there was this new global hero that it has born out of this, Ahmed al-Ahmed, a Syrian guy who jumped in and disarmed the person. He's making rounds now. He's being interviewed, and here he is talking about his injuries and the injuries that he's still having, like the remaining.
He shot you 5 times in your left arm.
He shot me, the one I felt it first was the arm. But after, when we went to the hospital, they told me 3 in the chest, in the shoulder, and 2 here, in the arm.
But you could have permanent nerve damage in your left arm.
Exactly. Which is now, can't feel.
So he's been asked a lot of questions, and he's talked about how Australia is his country and how he's proud to be the hero and proud to be named a hero by so many, including Israel, including so many people who came to see him. I mean, let's watch some more.
I can feel a little bit like this, but finger, stop. There is no movement. I'm not upset.
You're not?
No, I'm proud that I did. I saved innocent people's life. Because if I didn't run and take the gun from the terrorist, it will be disaster and will be more victim and will be more.
Look, you guys, this is a disclaimer. What the guy did was absolutely heroic, if you can call it that. Some would call it insane. Why is he endangering himself? Probably he didn't think about it. He just wanted to do the right thing. Sometimes we act before we think, and I understand that. I totally get that. This is a story that couldn't have been written better by any of the writers' rooms of any of these shows. There is a Jewish celebration going on at a beach, beautiful, Sydney, Australia. There's a Hanukkah celebration, that time of the year, unity, people come together. Father and son decide to go crazy. Okay. Apparently inspired by the Islamic regime. And then this guy comes out and he saves many lives and he disarms the bad guys. And you know what? The most beautiful thing about it is he's a Muslim. He's deemed a hero. You see how everybody calls him a hero because that was so brave, which it was. These so convenient stories all the time, right? Crazy. Very, very crazy. Very, very crazy. I'm not gonna lie. We should move on to the last part of this episode. And you guys know I love psychology, I love human behavior, and I try to bring some of it to the show, and I try to include some of very interesting, let's say, experiments here or findings, or, you know, we talk a little bit about mindset, we talk a little bit about mental health, we try to include it all. And one thing that is obviously always on everybody's mind is confidence, and then the opposite of it, the beast, right? The elephant in the room, insecurities. And we all, as human beings, we all have insecurities. You can be the most prettiest person, you can be the most successful person. They even have way more securities because they're so scared of failing, or so scared to be viewed differently. If there's just like one little thing that they feel is off, even if it's not off, but even if it was, they just feel panic mode, crazy mode, whatever mode. You know what I mean? So there was a psychology experiment conducted. Let's watch.
In the 1970s, a psychology professor by the name of Robert Kleck from Dartmouth, he conducted this fascinating experiment where he brought people together, he split them into groups, and with one group, he drew a scar on their face, from their right ear to the side of their mouth. Big ugly scar, and he let them see themselves in a hand mirror. Then he sends the groups out to have conversation with strangers, right? So you have one group that has this scar, another group has no scar. After the conversations, they come back and they report on how they felt the conversation went. The group with the scar overwhelmingly reported that they felt judged, it was tense, the other person was distant because of the scar. But here is where—
Very cool idea, very interesting. Let's get into it.
But here is where it gets really interesting. If we rewind just a little bit, right before the researchers sent them out into these conversations, he applied moisturizing cream to the scar. So they'd just seen themselves in the mirror. He then applies this cream, but he doesn't tell them that he's removing the scar.
Wow.
So now they have no scar on their face, but they believe that they do. No. They go into these conversations believing, expecting they will be treated badly, poorly, judged. And that's what they experienced.
Wow.
It's wild. When you think about the implications for us in our lives.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So there's more to it. There's more to it. This is not the end.
Okay, it may not be a physical scar, but we all have beliefs or expectations about ourselves based on how we see ourselves, our self-image. And then we're going to notice things that reinforce it because of how the brain is wired. Mm-hmm. Confirmation bias, selective attention. Your brain is wired to magnify what you focus on. So if you're going into your life, into your conversations, into your meetings, into your work, believing that you're not worthy, that you're not capable, that you don't deserve it, you're going to notice things that reinforce that, and it's only going to make you feel worse.
Don't you guys think this is absolutely madly interesting, simply because this is exactly what I'm talking about? There could be something wrong, and then even if there is nothing wrong, the fact that people believe that there is something wrong makes them act differently. It just happens sometimes when we're uncomfortable because of what we're wearing. Let's say, I don't know, the shoes are not comfortable. Like most women experience it one too many times and still experience it one too many times. You know, you start walking differently. And if you're like stiff, or I have it a lot with my hijab, oh my gosh, I'm so like paranoid about it, you know, because of the way I tie it, and that nothing is visible in the back, and that it's not moving on the sides and at the front and whatnot. And then, you know, you try everything to make it work, and then sometimes you're like scared to move around a little bit, or if too fast or whatever, and you're constantly checking. It happens with clothes, it happens with everything, you know. Like there are people who cannot, and that's a lot of people, who cannot walk by a mirror without having to look into the mirror, just in case. And then they have a mirror in their bag or in a pocket, and they be pulling it out and constantly looking. Okay, this is insecurities. This is paranoia, right? And everybody has it in one way or another. We all overcompensate for it. We all make up for it in a different way. You know, we all try to overplay it and all kind of stuff, right? And to me, it's so interesting sometimes to spot insecurities with people. And I'm like, you know what? You just made it so obvious what your insecurity is. And I found this experiment so interesting because it's just like a proof of how we act, how we conduct ourselves, how we present ourselves has a lot to do with how we are treated. That's why I say, you know, when there's always like the topic of looks or personality, I always say, you know what, looks can open the doors, but personalities keep the doors open, right? Because if you are like amazing looking, if you're like the hottest ever, and you don't have nothing good to say, or your personality is not continuing, you know, this whole thing of like, okay, now we saw you, you're pretty to look at, you're amazing, you're hot, whatever. And this goes for male and female. Now we pass that point. Now we look at you, yeah, I like looking at you. Okay, so what's next? What else is there? You know what I mean? You always want to know what's next. And if your personality doesn't hit and it's not landing with people, bruh, there is nothing else. There is nothing there for you, you know, because pretty people are not difficult to come by. I'm not gonna lie, right? If you're somebody who just purely focused on the looks, you lost. Because if that looks is gone, right? If that looks is slowly vanishing due to age or stress or maybe life, or maybe like a crazy event or some accident or anything, if that looks, it's kind of like not the same anymore in a few years, what are you falling back on, right? And for those people who just like follow just attraction, physical attraction is important. Don't get me wrong. It's hell of important, right? Like you can meet somebody who's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It is important. I don't want to get into the details of it because then I'll be saying some things that I don't want to say. You know what I mean? So it is important, yes. Is it the most important or the only important? I don't think so. And that's why it's so much of this experiment proving that it is in how you present yourself. Presentation is the key, right? And presentation is the key, but you need to back it. If you come and if you present a certain way, but you can back it, which a lot of people do. I know a lot of people. This is like why I say, for me personally, a lot of friendships fall apart because you present yourself a certain way, but then when it gets down to the nitty gritty, you're not that. I have to find out it's all shallow. It's not that. It's just all been some type of illusion, some type of a dream, or you just presented yourself in a way that, you know, people would like, or you presented yourself in a way that you want to be. Well, then you should strive and work and, you know, be that. And there's so many people even when friendships don't fall apart, but I recognize, okay, you know what, you're not actually that person that you claim to be or present yourself to be. I just make a mental note, because then I know how to take the person, and that's what's up. You know what I mean? But there, you guys, the first episode of 2026 is concluded. I am completely done. That's all I have. I want to say thank you guys for the support. I hope you guys are still here, though I was MIA for a month. Please come back, engage in the comments, and let's get this thing going and doing what we're here to do and what we came to do. And I love you guys, and I will be back next week with a brand new episode. Peace out.
Trying something new. Yeah. People talking loud, everybody's got a take. Scrolling through the headlines, don't know what's real or fake. Late night conversations, what's the truth we chase? World keeps changing pace, but we're all in the